Welcome, Melissa. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm excited for you to share some of your experience working together in the last mini mind that I did.
Thank you so much for having me, Stephanie. It's such a pleasure to be able to share the breakthroughs and ahas and transformations that have happened in that mini mind space.
Hmm. I know you've been in business for a while, doing your soul's work, supporting other people with developing their spiritual gifts and their mediumship and a lot of other magical things. And I would love to hear a little bit about like what was going on for you and where you kind of were before we started the mini mind, and what inspired you to jump in.
Yeah. So before I did the mini mind, and I think that was back in March, April, around that time, because I know it was around my birthday. And I was feeling like there was a transition happening inside of me. I felt very unaligned to a lot of the ways I was showing up in my business. And it really came down to how I had been told to show up in business by, a lot of the mentors that are in the personal development industry. And it worked for a while. I had a really good business success back in 2022, the highest income I've ever earned in my life. 6 figures, it was crazy. I was like, what? But to me, I just felt like when I entered this year in 2023, I was like, this isn't how I want to be. I felt really disconnected with myself. And something that I really love about you is how you show up so authentically in your power, talking about all the things I like to geek out on, which is, consciousness with, beyond this earth and really being embodied in who you are. And how you do that is so authentic and magnetizing. It's very real. You feel the energy. And a part of me was like, I don't feel like I'm oozing the energy that was once inside of me. And so I felt at the time, and I'm glad I did, that you were going to be the person that was going to help me remember my magnificence and my magic, that in some ways I feel like I was playing big, but I wasn't playing big as me, if that makes sense. I was playing big in a carbon copy of other people. And I just felt this calling of, Melissa, you got to come back to you. And during your mini mind, I actually changed my name.
I remember
So,
that. That was
yeah, so I went from my married name, which I've been divorced for, oh gosh, a long time. Melissa Mills, which is what I built my business as for the last decade. And then I went back to my maiden name, which is Melissa Espinasi. And it was just perfect timing, as it always is, of, okay, I'm going through this transformation. I'm going through this rebirth. I'm going to come back to who I am. So every kind of little piece has dropped in, and you were definitely part of those pieces that helped me kind of be put back together.
I love hearing that. And I love that how you mentioned like you had created a lot of success, but it started to feel like you were a carbon copy of other people, or it just didn't feel fully you. And I think that's important to note because a lot of people experience that or have been experiencing that, especially in the last like year or so, where they're like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel like my thing anymore. It doesn't, or maybe you've grown a lot and it's like, okay, something needs to shift. And we sometimes need to reevaluate how we're going about things and the energy that we're coming from that is behind that. And so I'm so grateful that you were part of the mini mine and I was able to support you in just like unleashing more of you.
I know it was in some ways, I find that there's a part of me, and this is something, I did mention a lot in the mini mind, that I am often in a tug of war between like my soul self and my human self, and my human self is sometimes a little bit slower to the play with my soul self. And for me, I feel the way that you taught the mini mind, the way that you really allowed us to have permission to really be ourselves. Like since doing the mini mind, I have started doing reels, which I'm really loving and playing with reels. I was like, no, I'm never doing reels. Oh my gosh, it seemed like a very scary thing. I was hiding. I didn't want to be seen. I've started a new podcast and I'm loving it. I feel like I've just come back to doing what I love instead of trying to fit my business in a model which is out there. And that's something that you taught us, was really coming from our soul based businesses. And I feel that was something that I was teaching, but in some ways I kind of got lost in the chasing the money goal and the target and having an overridden nervous system. Whereas now it's like I feel like myself. I feel like I'm showing up as myself, and people are resonating so much more with my message because they feel my soul. And that's something that a lot of people are saying to me now is, Melissa, we really feel you. And I'm like, yes, I'm really speaking now from my heart, from my soul truth.
I love that. What other, like, I guess, tangible and intangible things have you experienced when you were in the mastermind and like after? I know you were launching a couple things at that time, and share like, yeah, the outside stuff that was going on and the inside stuff a little bit.
Oh gosh. Okay. When I was doing the mini mind, I was launching a few things, as sometimes many genes do, though I try not to kind of label myself as anything, but just so people understand kind of like my energy and how it works. And I was doing at the time Through the Realms, which was a past life course, and I was doing Lemurian Prophecy, which is all about working with Christ consciousness from the Lemurian incarnation of planet Earth. And I was like, no one's signing up to my things. This is so awesome. And then it was some of the strategies that you had shared with us about really coming to the place of how are they going to benefit from this experience. And I started really sharing my own story, because you really talk about how stories are powerful. So I would share my stories. And then I started having people signing up to the programs. I was selling out my mediumship morning tea. So I'm in New Zealand. So I know a lot of you, you might have to get on a plane to come to my mediumship morning teas. But I was just selling out the morning teas without having to really do much. Like things started to happen with such more ease without me having to chase it, without me having to go, hey, do you want to come in my thingy? And so some of those things were really nice, because it was really the confirmation of people are resonating with what I am saying when I speak from my own truth, my own experience. And I really believe what I've remembered with you is energy speaks so much more than anything else. And my energy had got so wonky. I was like, it was just, I don't even know. But I'm glad I experienced it all, because now I know how to stay in my own zone, if that makes sense, and to understand when I'm no longer being myself and trying to imitate somebody else, because that's very easy to do. One of the things that I really took on as well is you keep saying, stop being the best kept secret. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have been keeping myself a secret. So I really took that to heart. And I was like, okay, let's go. Let myself be seen. So that's why, I started playing with the reels, taking into the things that you said about when people come to your social media platform, that it gives them the opportunity to know who you are. Think of it as like your billboard. And so I have been doing that. I've been thinking, okay, when people come to my Instagram, for example, what vibe are they getting? Because before I was just like sloppy here, post this here, blah, blah, blah. I really wasn't being intentional in who I am. And now you go there and it's kind of like, this is who Melissa is. This is how she helps you. This is what she's sharing. And also, you talk about putting your best stuff out there for free. And I was like, that makes so much sense to me as well, because even a lot of people kind of think, well, if I put it out for free, no one's going to buy. And I really want to say that's not true. And I really am a testament to that. We are here to serve humanity. Well, that's how I like to think of it. And I know you do too. We're here to really be of service. And being of service in my mind isn't, we're not necessarily going to be able to have everyone pay us in some way. That would be amazing. But, we are here to serve humanity. And so putting our work out there for free is a beautiful gift. It's the universe's way of being able to really elevate consciousness, which is what we're here to do.
Mhm.
Inside of me, oh my gosh, changing the name was a big thing, because I really feel, and I'm still integrating that, because I've been a decade of being Melissa Mills, and now, it was like, oh, okay, now I'm Melissa Espinasi again. It's been an adjustment period. My body has been through the ringer a little bit. I've had a lot of physical things, like my body going, no, you need to rest. You need to rest. You need to take the time to really integrate, because I like to just go for it. I like to, go a million miles an hour. So slowing down for me is like, I don't like slowing down. So my body was like, just take the time to really reconnect with her. And I feel so much more confident in my body. The weight is dropping off. I feel happy, like my eyes are glowing. I feel this pure connection back to my being. I don't know how to necessarily put that in an explanation. And I feel more vibrant. I just
Mhm.
feel like I'm also not denying myself to feel all the emotions.
Which is
And I
important.
think it is important, because a lot of the time people are trying to bypass a lot of things. And I just allow myself to sit with it and go, okay, we have a choice. What are we choosing now? Why is this coming up? Let's, not being afraid to go deeper within my own self.
Yeah, that's so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. It's like a multifaceted journey and multifaceted results and things that happen. But it's really all about just deeply connecting to yourself and learning how to navigate your own inner world and be able to express that outwardly in the most powerful, heart-centered way. And you've been doing amazing showing up for yourself and with the beautiful work that you're doing in the world. And I'm really excited for what's unfolding and what's to come for you and all of that. Can you share what was your favorite part of the mini mind, or also maybe like how was your experience with the community aspect? Because I know a lot of people like are really craving support and community and knowing they're not alone.
Absolutely. I feel it's hard to put into words what would be my favorite part. I want to say like the whole lot. And I don't mean that like as a cop out. I really feel the people that were in there was the beautiful women that were part of the mini mind. They say your vibe attracts your tribe, and who you are, Stephanie, has attracted really amazing people who are driven in being self-led. I think that's really important. There are a lot of people that are codependent, and they go, if I hire a coach, I'm going to have the results, right? And it's actually not about that. It's us and how we show up. We create the results ourselves. And the way that you held us, the way that you brought us all together. We were cheering each other on. We were really supportive of one another. It's not a competition. Everyone was genuinely happy to see each other succeed. And, they say it's important to choose the tables that you sit at. And I felt very honored to be seated at the table with all these incredible women from around the world, and to have us all be equals. I think that's really important. Some were really new in business, someone like myself who was really, quite established in business, yet we're all dealing with the same stuff because it's in the collective consciousness. That's how we're all programmed. It doesn't matter where we come from. We're all experiencing the same things. And that's what we're ultimately unlearning. And you are an amazing teacher at helping us unlearn so that we can come back to our truth. So I can't pick what was my favorite. I feel like the things that really stood out for me were like, stop being the best kept secret. That really resonated with me because I know for myself that I am here to be on stages, to what my gifts is being able to entertain an audience. You can see I've got the gift of the gab, like I can just blah 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 talk, podcasting, writing books, all of that kind of stuff is part of who I'm here to be. And I was just filling space with stuff. Not that it's not stuff that was important, because now I look back and I go, I can see why I was doing that. That's where that's going to fit in my business and how I serve the world. And now I can come full circle, and with the name change and really integrating that, it's like, okay, here I'm ready to be seen for who I am. So to me, I think that would be the thing that clicked the most, but it clicked the most because of all the other layers that you put in place, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. That is a good one. Stop being the best kept secret, everybody. Um,
But a lot of people deal with imposter syndrome and, oh, this person has this many followers and blah, 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 blah. And honestly, if I can say anything to anybody that is thinking about working with you or thinking about just going for it, is energy speaks more than anything, because we are energy. We are actually not this human body per se. This is a temporary vessel that we're in, and energy speaks so much louder than words and video and anything. And I'm sure people watching can feel my energy. They can feel my genuineness of the transformation I have been on with you. And if we can clean up our energy a little bit and really understand our energetic self, which is something that you really do so beautifully with all the movement and really understanding your craft of universal intelligence and how we bring it all together, then you don't need a big audience, because it feels like they just drop out of nowhere. Like I literally have people who find me and then book me like the same day. And I'm sure you have that too. And it's like, they don't even know me. How did that happen? Because of our energy and how we're emanating that.
So true. Yeah. It's an inner game, and that also inspires the outer actions that you take that are in more alignment. So it's not like you're just sitting around doing nothing, but they don't always come from certain things that you're doing either, I
Yeah.
love.
I always say, we're human beings, not human doings.
Mhm.
And a lot of the times we're told, do this, do the strategy, do this, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, I can't keep up. Like and because technology is evolving so rapidly, what worked potentially in strategy a year ago isn't working now. And, the only thing that's never going to change is how we feel, like the energy that is within us that can't be altered in some way. What am I trying to say here, Stephanie? It's like, people are always going to pick up energy.
Yeah. Whether you realize it or not, they're going to feel it.
That's your best strategy. Your energy is your best strategy always.
Amen to that. So so to wrap it up, what are you most excited about now that you are creating, birthing, like in the process of like bringing to life? What's the big vision that you're, yeah, actualizing?
Oh my gosh. You know what? I feel like I probably can't even conceptualize right in this moment what my big vision is. And that's the part that excites me the most, because my mind is like, well, maybe it's the book tour, maybe it's this, but actually, there's greater things even out there that I can't even begin to imagine that are available for me. So, to answer your question, I got no idea, but I feel it. And I know that there are incredible things that I'm here to do in this world. And right now, I'm enjoying being in the birthing of that stage, the birthing of coming back to doing my mediumship shows, doing my podcast, sitting down to write the book, doing my retreats again, the stuff that I love. I've missed it so much. And I feel that's that little spark that you ignited in me. So I thank you so much for that, because watch out, world. Melissa's here.
Oh, yeah, she is. Thank you so much. So, for anyone who wants to connect with you, if they would like to check out all of your magical mediumship stuff and the things that you're doing, where would they find you?
You can find me on Instagram. Who am I on Instagram? I don't even know. I think I'm Melissa Espinasi, though that's really tricky to find because it's a interesting spelling. But type in New Zealand Modern Medium, you'll find me. I'm sure if it's meant to be, you'll come into my energy.
Yeah, and I'll leave a link if wherever I put this too, so that it's easy. Well, thank you so much, Melissa. Love you, and it's so good
I
seeing
love
you.
you too.